Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to talk about propane bottles. I know that seems a little weird to you because a lot of you know all about propane bottles and there's nothing I can tell you new about them. But there's a surprising number of people who have just lived their lives in houses and never owned or done anything with a propane bottle. And so when you move into a car, van, or RV, you're kind of surprised by how much they cost and their size and how to use them. And so I just want to walk through all that and make this really simple for you and just give you a good broad overview. The big thing is that there are different sizes. Now you all probably already knew there were some really huge ones, and you've probably all seen these 20 pounders. This is a standard 20-pound refillable propane bottle. So this is really common. Everyone knows about it, but it's big. And if you're in a car, this just really isn't an option for you. Or if you're an SUV, you just thought, well, this is too big. I can't carry this thing around, so I'm not going to have propane. And of course, all of you are familiar, I'm sure, or you will be in this life, with the little green bottles. And so a lot of us buy these because they're great. You know, they're not all that expensive. They've gone up a lot. At Walmart is still by far the cheapest, and this is now $5 at Walmart, a little over 5.25, something like that. And it's going up all the time. The cost of everything is going up now, but propane's going up, and all fossil fuels is going up the fastest. So you know these, and they're pretty expensive. But there are other sizes, and some of these other sizes might work really well for you and save you a whole bunch of money over buying these little propane bottles. And we'll come back to the cost of propane by the bottle, by the little green bottle, versus by the gallon, because you're buying all of these by the gallon, usually at a gas station or a propane store. So you have these three I happen to have sitting out here. So this is your standard bottle. It's 20 pounds or 5 gallons. So it's like 4.1 or 2 pounds per gallon. So it's not exactly 20 pounds or exactly 5 gallons, but it's pretty close. We're rounding off here. And you've also seen these as the exchanges. A lot of places have them as exchanges now. And you can go and just buy the bottle out of the exchange thing and then use it and then take it back and exchange it. And that's a pretty good deal. You pay more, usually, not always, but you usually pay more than if you just take and get it refilled yourself. But it's convenient and it's easy, and I know a lot of you are just doing the exchange. And that makes perfect sense because they're everywhere and they're easy. So this is the one you're familiar with, but if this just can't fit in your rig, what are you going to do? Well, this is a pancake. That's how these are sometimes referred to, as a pancake. It is exactly half the size of this. And you can see it's much lower. In fact, I could take this 20-pound bottle out of this milk crate. This is just a milk crate I happen to have. You can buy milk crates this size at Home Depot, or you used to could. I don't know if you still can. I could take this out of here and I could put this right in here and it would fit exactly the same. And the wonderful thing about putting them in a milk crate is they're not going to roll around on you. So this is pretty stable, but it can roll. Now this, you're working at rolling this because it's got 4 corners and it's not round in the middle. Now, number one safety rule for propane is you must never, ever, 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 ever. When can you do it? Never, ever, ever. How often can you do it? Just once in a while? Never, ever, ever. I hope I've communicated with you. Have one of these inside your rig with you, okay? That's the rule. I don't know if it's the law or not. It probably is the law, but it's a safety rule that must never be violated. You must never violate that rule. And of course, I have violated that rule many, many times. But you must never, don't ever put one of these inside. It's unsafe. And so while I have done it, I just have that ability and you do not. That's something really special about me, is that I have that ability and you do not. So this would fit under my bed, which is why I really liked this size. Now this is the 1 gallon and it's like 4.2 pounds. So when you go and get it filled, it will fill up. If it's completely empty, it will hold just almost exactly 1 gallon. And again, they're 4 pounds to a gallon. This is 16 ounces, 1 pound. It takes 4 of these to fill one of these. Except if I go to Walmart and buy 4 of these, it's 20 bucks. A little more, it's like 21. if I go to Walmart and buy a 4-pack of these. Whereas I can get this filled for less than 5. So it is much, much cheaper to buy in bulk. Or if you go even to the exchange places, they're more, but it will be just a little more. It will still be dramatically cheaper than these green bottles. And that's why you would want to consider switching from the green bottles. Now, I've talked about this at length before, but I use a stove, and been using a Coleman stove exactly like this one for a very, very long time. And I put a pot over it, and I will burn this during the day for heat. And if you're using a propane for heat, you cannot, and now of course this stove will hook right into there. You know, I can screw that right in there right now and turn it on. So it would, if you plug this in here and ran it would probably run for 4 hours, and around a day. And so you can do it for 2 days. I think about 8 hours. I think one of these will run on low for about 8 hours. And if it's really cold and you've got it up on high, it won't run even anywhere near that long. So that means you're spending $2.50 to $5 a day for propane. And most of us can't afford that. I can't afford that. But if I hook it up to a bulk bottle and the price goes down by a fifth, I can't afford that. And so that's why I have always hooked these up, because in the winter to a bulk bottle. I have a bulk bottle on hand because I use this for heat. So then your next question is, if I don't want to spend these anymore and screw it in, I want to use a bulk bottle, how do I do that? Well, they make hoses that that you connect from any Coleman propane type appliance. So the Coleman lantern, the Coleman stove, all of these things that use green bottles, you could buy an adapter hose, and you'll just screw it on. And the other end just screws on to right over there. Get that pretty tight, and then you open it, and I heard the air flow through there. I happen to have on this one a gauge, and it moved up. It says it's right in the middle of the green. Now this is going to be ready to work. So what happens if you have several camping appliances you want to run at once? Two common ones would be a stove and a lantern. So you want them both to go into one bottle so that this is cheap fuel, so you want to use cheap fuel. Well, you can buy a Y, and this is a Y. What this does is it just takes this outlet. You can see this is exactly like that. So you just screw it in. And so this hose goes to my stove. I'm not going to finish it. And I would take another one that goes to my lantern. And so now I have a hose going to my lantern and to my propane stove, and they're both running off of one bottle. So this is just a simple Y adapter. They're going to be anywhere from $10 to $20 on Amazon, commonly available. Recently I came across, this is the first time I'd ever heard of this, is their hoses. They're the exact same hose. This will go right on to to my camping stove, my Coleman stove here. But it's stainless steel braided. And I like that a lot because that's going to protect the hose. The hose is still inside here, just the same hose, but it's got this stainless steel cover over it. But it also comes with a gas gauge, which you can see here. Now, these have been available a long time, and they're like a car where the gas gauge works badly. So you can't really count on them. However, like a car which gas gauge works badly, you learn it. You just study it and you follow it. So if my gas gauge is broken and it goes down to a half, maybe I've learned the hard way that at a half, it actually completely runs out and I've got to get gas before then. So you learn the weirdness of each individual gas gauge and you adapt to it. In this case, you're not going to end up walking. That's the good news. The worst that could happen is you would you'd run out at a bad time. And so I always keep a green bottle, a full green bottle, or at least one full green bottle on hand, so that if all of a sudden I've misgauged and I've run out and I'm in the middle of cooking my meal or it's a really cold night, I can always just put one of these on and get through the night till I go in and get this filled. So that's probably more than you ever wanted to know about propane bottles, but in a way, it could really save you a lot of money by not being dependent on these. You have to throw these away. The big bulky thing, you got to find a trash can to put them in, and it's bad for the environment. You're just taking all this steel and throwing it away. That's a bad thing. I hate doing that. So there's lots of reasons, but the biggest one is you're going to save yourself a whole bunch of money. Let me give an example just to say again how cheap you can, how much money you can save. It takes 4 of these to fill that. It's 20 bucks to buy 4 of these. It costs $5 to fill this. And so you just save a lot of money by doing this. And by finding one that can fit inside your rig, then you've saved a lot of money. And again, never, ever, ever put one of these inside your rig. It's really unsafe. Now you can refill these. I'm sure you've seen people that have done it, and you can watch videos on it. You can go to Amazon and there's a little adapter that screws into this and then screws into this. And I've never done it, so I can't tell you how to do it. There's good ways and bad ways. If you do it really just right, you can get one of these pretty darn full. And if you do it the way most people do it, just not the best, you're only going to get these at half or even less. That's fine. I have nothing positive or negative to say about it. It is my understanding that weirdly, it's legal to refill one of these, but it's illegal to transport them. Just this thing falls in between some cracks in the laws, and that's my understanding, that you can refill them, but you can't transport them, which of course where everyone is. And so if that works for you, then go ahead. But to refill it from one of these, you have to have one of these. So why are you bothering refilling it? That's been my thinking. Now there are some appliances that you really can't attach a hose to. The littlest Mr. Buddy heater is one of those, although I've got a video out on showing you how you can attach one to that. But it is a problem. You can't really attach them directly to some camping appliances, particularly that particular small Mr. Buddy heater. But that's the only time I would ever refill one of these. Why bother? Just why the effort when you can just you got the propane bottle anyway. That doesn't even really make sense to me. I guess it's a little more convenient, but you've gone through all the work to refilling it, and you're rarely going to get this thing full, and you have to do it all the time. And whatever works for you, I'm glad about. This never worked for me. I've never refilled one of those little green bottles. Okay, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.